All right, good morning. Time for another morning report. Just see if I can get this adjusted enough to get Ronnie back in the picture fully. All right, there we go. All right, in the news this morning for the morning report, Obamacare repeal and replace. Republicans been struggling with this since day one of the Trump administration. Uh, the president wanted to try to get that done in the first 100 days. That did not happen. They had made a failed attempt early on to try to get this through, but the problem for the Republicans is just that they have a hard time staying united and keeping their message together, and this was no exception to the rule. So they're probably getting closer to doing something that is right than they have before. The pre-existing condition problem is still there. There's a sticking point, but they're going to try to do this by throwing some money, at it to help provide people to pay for medical care if they're sick. But I mean, if they're really, really sick, $8 billion over 5 years is probably not going to cut it in terms of solving the problem and saying that this is how we're going to take care of pre-existing conditions going forward. No doubt, I probably have benefited from this to a certain degree, but you basically take what you're given. Not that I like it, but that's the way it is, right? But as I said before, pre-existing conditions, covering them, rating everybody the same, that's not insurance. That this is a government mandate of you must do this or else, and so that's not doesn't bring about really free and open competition. Lots of problems with this, but I'm thinking that maybe they can find a better way to do this. Maybe it is something to do with what the Wall Street Journal said was a risk pool of sorts. I think compromise is the only way they're going to get any of this done, and then maybe once they get it in there, they can start putting the squeeze on some of these things and lowering over healthcare costs overall. Stephen Colbert somewhat apologized about his crude remarks referring to oral sex and President Trump the other night, but he still felt that as he was there for the White House Correspondents' Dinner and everything like that, I guess whatever he was doing here, he was just being rude and crude, and so he's walked that back a little bit, but it sparked a Fire Colbert movement, and I think the network needs to look at that and see whether or not this is a guy they want long term, on their network, and I don't know why they have him there, but anyway. The president is also signing off on an executive order. Today's the National Day of Prayer, so I think this was time to do this, to ease back on church activity, church political activity. Conservatives, evangelicals are extremely happy with this effort. Liberal groups, ACLU, those types, they are not. They think this is basically saying that you're going to now be able to spend federally subsidized dollars on all of these things rather than their own programs for the churches and the poor. I'm not so sure that's really the case, but I do think that politics and the church can only go so far. I don't have a problem. I mean, I wouldn't mind going around to people I know at church and trying to recruit them for political activities, but I wouldn't do that from the pulpit. I wouldn't tell them to go vote for any specific candidate from the pulpit necessarily. I think that just needs to be done a little bit more, offhand, off schedule, to be able to happen. James Comey testified on the Hill and got grilled pretty good. Republicans still support him, and Democrats don't seem to at this point. So we're at this point where we're trying to figure out what's going on. Comey was saying that he felt slightly nauseous at the prospect of the idea that he influenced the election as a way kind of to fight back. He gave copies of his book out to show people, kind of things that he's thinking about and what he's doing. So, anyway, I don't even know why I said that. Anyway, Buckingham Palace. They made their announcements today that Prince Philip is going to back off from his duties and whatnot. So he's 95, the Queen is 91. I think this is all appropriate. This will be news for followers of the royals for sure. Puerto Rico declaring bankruptcy. They've been in trouble for years, so that's one of those things that they'll have to deal with. This is a big bankruptcy. It's a big problem, and but the country's been in trouble for years, mismanaged. Just the economic base there has been deteriorating for years. Bankruptcy will help them get hopefully a fresh start in a lot of ways, but it really won't change anything unless the governance changes in that country. So until then, it will probably still be mired in problems. They may be able to clear the deck a little bit, but there's nothing that says that they have to discard bad habits. There's not going to be a rule about that or a law about that. So anyway, all right. I think I've stumbled through this enough and hopefully made some sense around here, at least at some point. Anyway, thanks a lot. We'll see you again tomorrow, and the Bias Post podcast will be posted on YouTube on our channel in just under 2 hours from now. So if you missed it yesterday, then you have a chance to see the slightly edited version. So clean it up and put it out there. We'll see you tomorrow.